you so much, Bob, for that fabulous introduction. Well, I know my topic is dairy is filth, but we'll get to that in just a minute. My name is Vaidya Priyanka, and I come from a 721-year-old matriarchal lineage of vegan Ayurvedic Vaidyas. So the term veganism or vegan was coined only in 1944 in England by Donald Watson. But several years before that, my family has been vegan. From documentation, 650 years even before Donald Watson came up with that term. So my family contributes to the world in the form of Om. As you can see in the slide, it's authentic, universal, meditative. This is what our backyard looks like in Kerala, India. I think if your backyard looks like that, you don't really want to be fishing, you know. It's just gorgeous. We wake up to this and we live a life which is very pure and from the heart. And when we go on to actually practice what is called the authentic Ayurvedic essence of veganism. This is my topic, and then I will touch upon why I think dairy is filth. So we do believe a lot in the whole concept called Kaya Kalpa. Kaya means the body, and Kalpa is the science of making your body immortal. In order to achieve this beautiful area of Kaya Kalpa, first of all, what is Kaya Kalpa? Kaya Kalpa is when you hold responsibility for the sacred body that you've been given, and that you can leave, in the sense, exit to a higher and better plane when you choose to exit, as opposed to succumbing to disease because of any type of greed or unnecessary nutrition that unfortunately the world believes that you need to have. Nurture and nature. This is what I was taught by my great-grandmother. She left us quite recently at the age of 108. And she was vegan from the time she was 3 years old. Traditionally in my family, all the women, besides our mother's milk, which we normally have between for 1.5 years to 2 years, we don't have any other products. For 1 year, for some children, just for them to adapt, we do give them cow's milk when they're maybe 2.5 years of age to about 3 years of age at the most. And after that, we have absolutely no dairy products. You have to understand that coming from an Ayurvedic lineage, a lot of people are like, oh, in Ayurveda, milk is used all the time, ghee is used all the time. That might be. But milk and ghee, even in small quantities, is not used as effective medicine because your body rejects it. It is the calf's food. It is not meant for human consumption. And I actually said this to Bob in a radio interview that dairy was filth, and he kept on holding on to it. Yes, I absolutely believe that filth is obscene. It's something which is very obscene. It's something you don't want as part of your light. On what is this light, right? For us, real food or aharam, as we call it, or ahar, comes from things which occur in nature, which are natural to your body's ecology, to the ecosystem which is filled with grandeur and beauty and sophistication, and that does not require to be contributing to an unnecessary bad karma or the lack of ahimsa goal of having meat or dairy products in your diet. These are the things that Ayurveda helps with. But besides all of this, Ayurveda also helps with longevity, especially a vegan-based Ayurvedic diet. Ayurveda is a science which really helps you understand what your body needs and how to provide it with the things that it needs. So Ayurveda is pretty much a combination of the 5 elements that naturally occur in nature. You're born with a set of imbalances, and that's called your Prakriti, and what you have in your environment is your Vikriti. So we strive as people in order to create that accordance with nature. So when I said dairy is filth, I got a lot of heat from other Ayurvedic Vaidyas saying that is ridiculous. How can you say that? the cow is sacred. And I said, holy cow, of course the cow is sacred. That's all the more reason why you shouldn't be eating it, right? And I don't know how it is possible that a person needs to have so much calcium for anything. Your body does not need it at all. In my practice, when I tell people, the first thing that I want you to do for me is to get off dairy products so that it's easier for me to treat you, they all look shocked. Then after 1 week, I start getting emails and text messages and they tell me it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. And the reason why it is the best thing is because you are not holding on to the series of karma that will keep affecting you. But on a biochemical level, one of the most important things is that when you consume dairy products, you create kapha or kabam or phlegm in your body. And this is a disgusting environment. And this is the type of environment where cancerous cells proliferate without a problem. And the biggest issue with that is that when you have cancerous cells really multiplying, what happens? The cancer, yes, they might find it in one area of your body, but it is creating a similar environment in another part of the body, and before you know it, it's metastasized into another organ, and you don't really know when it can strike again. So it's beyond filth. It also creates, it's not the American Medical Association, it's a particular thing which is called ama, which is toxicity, which arises in the body because of stale food and food which is mucus inducing in the body. You can figure it out by looking at what your tongue looks like in the morning. So this is what we call ama. It is undigested food and emotions which turn into this thing called ama. It's toxic, sticky, cloudy, and it's really smelly. It's just gross. Very similar to milk, right? So these are the things that we recommend in my practice. It's called a must avoid for detox, and it's a 42-day challenge that we recommend people to do. It's called the 10 no list. The first thing on that list is dairy products. The second thing is animal products. The third is wheat because of gluten, and smoking, of course, alcohol, drugs, caffeine, refined products, carbonated beverages. The reason why we say a big no-no to carbonated beverages is because we try so hard to put oxygen into our body. It makes no sense to take in carbon dioxide when we're really trying to get it out. So it's as simple as that. FD&C, food dyes and colors. A lot of people come and tell me, oh, you know, I've been vegan for so many years. These are the products I have. And I look at some of those labels and it has red 40, blue lake 2, and yellow 5 and 6, and they're all made from the undersides of bellies of insects. I mean, that is not a vegan. Okay, so that's important. We also recommend a lot of meditation in our practice. And I've noticed that people who are vegan and meditators do much better than people who are non-vegan. The reason for this is when you actually meditate, I do a technique called the Transcendental Meditation, which was introduced by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. I've done it since I was 10 years old. And I can tell you, it's a very simple technique, extremely effortless, 20 minutes, 2 times a day. What it really does is that it engages your prefrontal cortex. And when the cortisol, which is your stress hormone, goes up in your body, most people become very indecisive. They're not in a position to make good decisions. They become extremely, fidgety. And if you also have meat in your body at that point, it is a huge mess, right? So there is mucus going on. There is a lot of blood supply unnecessarily going into your stomach to digest that meat. And cerebrally, the amount of oxygen is going to come down to an all-time low. So it's really important when you meditate and you are vegan, you've already increased your longevity by 20 years. I kid you not, women in my family don't die. Then the other is yoga. This is a very sweet little monkey trying to do the Chaturasana, of course. And what yoga is not just a pose. What yoga really is the ultimate union between your body, your mind, and your spirit. And this type of yoga can come to a slight extent with the physical manifestation of yoga in the form of doing asanas. But what is truly yoga is to be able to infuse with your fingertips energy into the food that you make, the solemn moments of prayer and meditation, to be able to spend quality time with people that you truly love. My grandmother turned 100, she was going to turn 101 this year, and I asked her, what are your secrets? You know, like you're 101 years old. She says, first of all, when you're in the 3 digits, you can say anything and people will listen to you. I said, that's great, but tell me more about what are the 5 things you did in your life. She said, I drank a lot of water. The second is, I never ate a meal which has hurt anything that has had a mother. And the third, she said, is I've never eaten with anybody that I hated. And the fourth is that, you know, the opposite of love is indifference. It's not hatred. She said, I would never create such an emotion in me. It would be indifference, but definitely not hatred. And the fifth, she said, I learned to embrace exercise as movement and not exercise. You know, so when you really create your body to move in accordance with your true nature and your belief systems, you are truly in the presence of yoga. You are yoga. You are that manifestation of the 8 limbs. You know, so that is true Ashtanga, you know, so it's beautiful. The next is Marma. My family's been doing Marma therapy for many years. Marma in Ayurveda is very similar to traditional Chinese medicines. I can't say it's completely similar, it's just quite similar, like the meridian points. So what happens in Marma is that it's a connection between your physical body and your spiritual self. And these points are manipulated with different types of oils. And we also do use the trilogy of mantra, yantra, and tantra. Tantra not like Sting and his lovely wife, but tantra as a technique that is employed, mantra as in sounds, and yantra as in different totems that are used with copper and other gemstones. So it's very fascinating. And we've noticed again that the marma that we do on vegans definitely speeds their recovery even after they've finished a really, really difficult surgery. When a person has gone back to eating meat and dairy products, their recovery is very slow. Marma can work magic on people whose body has a lot of fluidity and a lot of movement, and when their dhatus or their tissues are live, when they're not dead. It's not like you're hoarding, you know, like dead carcasses inside your body. That's gross. So the next is this concept called ojas. Ojas is almost like the divine light. So if you were to eat foods which have a beautiful light value in it, and your body is really clean, and your digestive fire or your Agni is at its optimal, then automatically this whole quality of ojas can be achieved. Nutrients from your food are automatically taken in by your body through your tissues, and then these people are like the light beings walking the planet. I'm sure all of you have seen enough light beings walking the planet, where they're such a joy to be around. They have a light that emanates from their eyes and a purity that is part of their being. And this ojas can be achieved without a problem. I think mucus, which is in the body, reduces this ojas by quite a considerable amount, thereby creating, when I read the pulse while I'm diagnosing a person, I can easily tell you who is a vegetarian, who is a vegan, and who is a person who's quite unsure. Because there are some people who are like, can I have yogurt 2 times a week? And I always respond by saying, you can never be a little pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant, you know? So the quality of love is spoken about very beautifully in lineage Ayurveda. And what love really means is just not like these parrots kissing, but it's just the whole idea of conforming into this beautiful space of your anahata or your heart chakra, and creating that ability to encompass that lovely energy. To be able to get that green glow, it's very easy to do so when you know that your meal has not harmed anything. And to me, it's more about what I was born into and how I help create that in my life's purpose today. But when I also look at people who eat in a hurry, for example, or eat while they're driving on the 101, I live in the Bay Area, so they're usually speeding at 101, on 101, and eating, you know, multi-layered pink meat sandwiches. It's crazy. And when I lived in Texas for some time, and it was very interesting because they were marketing that year, they were marketing pork as the other white meat. And I found that fascinating because even Miss Piggy is pink, right? And you know, if you really look at, you know, Sesame Street, you know, Miss Piggy is pink. So how can pork be the other white meat? It was just confusing, all these really weird mixed messages. And I told people that we should really embrace veganism. In my practice, I don't want to say that we convert people into veganism, we make them understand the value of being vegan. And we really do make them see it. And when they see it, not only do they transform, but very organically the entire family transforms. And then they all have much more energies. It's very simple. This is Mount Kailash. I like to climb it at least, not climb the mountain, go around, circumambulate the mountain at least once every 3-4 years. It's one of the most beautiful places on the planet. When I wake up in the morning, I always spend 5 minutes in repose, trying to understand gratitude, to feel it, and in my mind saying a quiet prayer. And I believe that this is one of the most important tenets that I've ever learned. I've learned that gratitude is a very important attitude. And many people who wake up in the morning after just a few moments of gratitude invariably make better choices with their diet, better choices with the people in their life, and also their intention for the day is quite well marked. Water, a very important part, just like my grandmother would say. Please make sure you drink at least 2.4 liters of water. Don't drink water right before or right after a meal. Don't drink ice water. Prefer to drink room temperature or hot water as much as your tongue can take, because that aids digestion as opposed to shocking the system. We are not lizards, we're not poikilothermic, we are human beings, so we don't really need ice cold water. There's this whole concept of bioindividuality where one man's poison can be another man's medicine. But there's another very important aspect of bioindividuality, which is, you know, there are some things where there is a very basic commonality, and if you can achieve that basic commonality, you've already achieved better health. And these are the physical benefits that we've seen in the last 1.5 or 2 years, quite considerably, especially with energy and longevity and migraines and allergies. And even people who live in pollen-infested areas do not show any signs of allergies. No prescriptions need to be written, and most of them can manage very, very well with just maybe a little bit of activated quercetin or some pineapple juice. But it's much better than, you know, people who were eating bacon for breakfast. This is a very important thing. It's called having a purpose. You know, there is a concept in Sanskrit called swadharma. Swa means self, and dharma means living for a reason that's greater than yourself. And I urge all of you to live for at least one reason which is greater than yourself for at least 20 years of your life. And if you do it for 20 years, you'll want to do it all your life. So make sure that you find what that is, and strive very hard for it to be part of your everyday. People need not remember you. People don't even have to remember what you did. But people have to feel the difference and the impact just because you shared the planet with them. So Swadharma is super, super important. I've created this thing which is called Om Cuisine, and I'll tell you what Om Cuisine does. It is about introducing gluten-free, vegan, organic, local options to people in this world. And eventually everybody came and said, you have deprived me of chocolate. So we created another sweet little company with 2 of my very good students in San Diego, and we created this thing called Om Lifestyle, where we've created a new concept called Caramelate. And what Caramelate is it's chocolate, but not with chocolate. It has no emulsified agents, no dairy, nothing. It's just got carob, which is a fantastic bean and has a host of medicinal properties. So we created that, and I think many of you have tried it and bought some. We put some beautiful spices in it, so it is truly medicinal, and it is something that I would like all of you to give a try, because you can't stop at one. So I'm going to open the floor out to some questions. I removed some slides because I think there was some time mismatch going on. So I'm going to open the floor out to some questions, and I'll be very happy to answer them before we finish. Yes? Slightly louder.
My name is Daphne, and I very much try to embody a yogic lifestyle. And I have many friends who are into Ayurveda, and they say they're vegan, except when it comes to the ghee, and the butter. How can I articulately convey to them in a compassionate way that it's not right? What can I say to them? Because I just kind of stepped back, and I deny it. I don't want to use it when we do the treatments, like the forehead treatment or the hair. But what can I say to them? How do I?
So even for the forehead treatments, even for Shirodhara, you don't really have to use medicated ghee. And I'll tell you this because, see, I'm telling you this only from the point that this is all I've known my entire life. I noticed that I do have focus. My memory has not changed in any way. In fact, it's become, as my friends tell me, critically worse, that I remember everything. And I would hope that stands for some more time. But I choose to completely disagree with the concept that medicinal ghee needs to be used in Ayurveda. Only because there are several other things that can be mixed, and it is more of using the herbs and creating a carrier for the herbs. And there are several carriers that can be used with the same capacity. One of the biggest things they recommend using ghee for is digestive purposes or elimination purposes, and in many cases to increase flexibility of the human body. But you have to understand that flexibility of the human body can be achieved when there is no inflammation. And any dairy product, including ghee, is going to cause that inflammation. So if you're striving to reduce inflammation in your body, you should be abstaining from all dairy products. I think people will understand that. Even people like Dr. Andrew Vail, he believes that if you have inflammation, it means you have disease, which is 100% accurate. So there you go, you can tell them that.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yes,
I meditate every day, 20 minutes to an hour, and sometimes I'm successful, but many times I have trouble concentrating. I try the breathing, many other things, and it's at the end of the hour that I feel like I'm, beginning to concentrate a little more. Is there anything that you can give me that it can help me to concentrate?
Okay, so the first thing is, how long have you been vegan?
I have been vegan for 3 years and vegetarian for on and off for 30 years, and then 8 years full vegetarian.
Okay, do you go to sleep on time every day?
No, I don't.
Then that's what the problem is. So once you get to going to bed at the same time every day, and preferably around 10 p.m. at night, I have to see you closer and feel your pulse, but I can tell you, if you go to sleep around 10 p.m. and gradually your body cycle has changed and you're waking up around 5:30 or 6 in the morning, then automatically your meditation would be better. And then the other thing is you possibly have to consider looking at your house and seeing if there's any clutter. Because if you have any clutter, sometimes meditation can be a problem. Because during the course of your day, if you're seeing visual clutter or pockets where you have a lot of paper and such, that is something you want to look into. And that is a science called Vastu Shastra, which is the predecessor of Feng Shui. So it's all about living in accordance with elements in your nature, in your environment, yes.
The problem with the sleeping situation is that ever since I was young, I went to college, I worked full time, I was a single mother, so I had to, supervise the work of my kids, do my work as a student because I was going to college, and also do whatever I was doing in my full-time job. So I always went to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, all my life. And then I got used to that. So now for me, 10 o'clock is too early.
No, you don't have to do 10 o'clock immediately. So if you're doing 1 o'clock, then do like 12:30, then do 12, then do 11:30, 11. So in about 7-8 weeks, you'll notice that your body is conforming to a normal rhythm of REM sleep. And once that has happened, you will notice, and also you should not eat for at least 3 hours before your bedtime.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I think, like, for example, my house, I'm really organized, and I don't like to keep a lot of stuff. I am a person that has what I need, and that's it, and everything looks clean and whatever. I think that the problem is me. I think that the clutter is maybe me, because, I mean, like, I sit in the sofa, everything is nice, I have plants and whatever, I put music, meditation music, and I try with music, I try without music.
Okay, so do you live in the Bay Area?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful, so do I. So what I'll do is offline, we'll definitely connect, okay?
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
So I'm an herbalist, and I learned a little bit of Ayurveda when I was learning my herbal practice. And one of the big things that my teachers would argue is that certain doshas can't have antioxidant products, and I thought that was ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. That's, you know, a ridiculous statement. See, nobody, we are not, I mean, if we were walking on all fours, maybe, but I don't think so. I mean, I think the whole idea of having meat in one's diet changes the way that we behave. We take upon the characteristic, you know. You are what you eat, but you're also what you don't shit, you know, seriously. So if it's going to be stuck in your body, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so one is that each day when I come back from school, I get really stressed. I was just asking a question if meditation just drains all your stress.
Yes, it does. It drains all your stress. And do you live in LA? Okay, I know somebody here who can teach you meditation.
And I want to become vegan.
Yes.
Because I've been experiencing like migraine,
How old are you?
10.
10, okay.
And asthma. And I want to get better.
That's really sweet. I think it's wonderful. And I think when you become vegan, your asthma is going to stop very, very soon because there will not be any congestion in your lungs, right? So when you have dairy products, what happens is that it prevents your alveoli, your air sacs, from like breathing and getting all the good stuff into your body. So when you stop having any type of dairy products and too much sweets and things like that, automatically your lungs are going to be acting really good, okay? We'll definitely talk because I'm going to get you to introduce you to somebody who can teach you to meditate. I learned to meditate at your age. Yeah.
I live in the Bay Area and I'm doing yoga training along with Kailash. I do a little light healing and I really want to learn Ayurveda. Do you do apprenticeship?
Yes, we do. We do have an apprenticeship program, but we also have other very, very systematic modalities that people can learn to make their practice, any type of holistic practice, into a better one. So we do have a one-on-one discussion that we can do. I will, this is my information. So you can definitely contact my office, let them know that you met me here and that you're in yoga. Where are you doing your yoga teacher training? Oh, wonderful. Okay, so we'll just make sure that we connect. Yes, that'll be lovely.
Hi.
Yes.
Last question.
So in your flexi diet, you said 42 days. What is the reason?
Why 42 days? Well, 42 days is how long it takes for the body to completely get into a habit that it finds very difficult to let go of. It is the number of days in a mandala, in a circle. Okay, I think my time's up, but it was lovely connecting with all of you.